So some breaking transfer news for you, as it is being reported that Forest have submitted a £17 million bid for Wilfred Gnonto from Leeds United. Welcome to your Forest news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. I hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest transfer news. As always, if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get over 500 likes on this video. So check down below. If it's less than 500, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And don't forget, FFTV is expanding. We are now on Playback TV. So if you could help us with the expansion, there'll be more extra Forest content coming out on that platform. All you need to do is scan this QR code or click on the link that's pinned in the comments, and we'll be kicking it all off on Tuesday. So go get yourself signed up. It's completely free on that platform. And yes, we still will be on YouTube. Don't worry. Okay, let's get into the news, because there's been some really big, interesting rumors, shall we say, at this stage, about Forest having tabled a 17 million bid, about 20 million euros, for Wilfred Gnonto from Leeds. The person who tried to force himself out of Leeds last summer, I mean, can you blame him? Who wants to play for that scummy team? And is now really expected to leave Leeds this summer. He lit the Premier League up the season Leeds got relegated, especially in the first half of that campaign, and then kind of fluttered and filtered away towards the end of it. I remember when they played us at the City Ground, he really was lighten up that first half until we made a couple of changes and brought him back in order. So he's a player that I've actually had an eye on for a while, since Leeds got relegated, and I know a lot of you are interested in him. But because he tried to force the move away in the summer, he basically refused to play for about 3 or 4 games for Leeds, and then didn't really feature in the team as much as you would have expected, and then eventually was brought back into the fold by Daniel Farke. As Leeds, let's remind them again, failed to get promotion. And because of that failure, they now have to definitely make some sales. What we saw last summer with Leeds when they got relegated was they tried to shove a lot of players out on loan in the hope, in the prayer that they could come back into the Premier League and bring those players back on. With a failure in the playoff finals against Southampton, up the Saints. Leeds are probably now going to have to offload a few. There's talks about Gnonto, there's talks about Somerville, and a few others. So Willy Gnonto is the one being linked with Nottingham Forest. Now, what's interesting about him is he never had a relegation release clause built into his contract, hence why he was trying to force his way out. And he hasn't really lived up to the initial hype when he first exploded onto the scene at Leeds United at the start of their relegation season. So is this a bit of a risk for Forest? I don't think so. I think there's one hell of a player in him. Now, he's versatile in where he plays. He can play on the left-hand side, which predominantly we saw in the Premier League. But in the Championship, he's been playing more on the right-hand side. And technically, you could even put him up front, although I think he's too small to be a striker. And if you look at the amount of games he's played, so let me give you his Premier League stats. He played 28 games for Leeds. He got 4 goals and a few assists for them in that season they got relegated. And in the Championship last season, he was involved in 44 games, 9 goals, as well as a few assists. So he still definitely has it. But he could be a bad apple. He definitely has an attitude where he thinks he's bigger than Leeds, which I don't blame him for. But could we see that transferring into Forest? And do we need that type of personality coming into the club? I say yes, but I think 17 million is a bit too much. And I'm surprised Forest went that high with the bid, if indeed this is true. Now, in terms of the rest of his background, he's Italian born. He has Ivory heritage as well. And this is why these reports are coming out from African sources on this one. And I can't verify how true or not this is. It's a weekend. It's hard to speak to any contacts. But I do feel that this is the style of player that Forest would want because he fits the profile. He's still only 20 years old. He has plenty of years to develop ahead of him. And I'd be surprised if there wasn't more clubs in for him. I think definitely Somerville and Gnonto will leave Leeds this summer. But will Forest be able to get in on the act? I like him. Now, I think he's better on the left-hand side than the right-hand side. I think he was more productive in his Premier League campaign than the Championship one. But then we got Callum Hudson-Odoi there. So you could, in essence, put Willy Gnonto on the right-hand side and he would do fine and maybe battle out with Elanga for that position. I personally think he is better than Elanga. It's just his attitude that worries me at the moment. Now, the interesting thing on this is currently there are no other clubs linked for Gnonto. It's literally Forest chucking a bid in at Leeds and maybe seeing if they can sneak this deal through. And then, of course, that brings the whole question of PSR. Because we have bought a few young guns in so far. They haven't, they won't move the dial that much when it comes to PSR. But if we splash out 17 million before the 30th of June, that is definitely going to take a chunk out of the equation. And that's why I think Forest will be involved in this PSR party. Don't worry, we've got videos coming up to explain exactly what that means, probably tomorrow or the day after. So how do you guys feel about Willy Gnonto? Do you think he's good enough for Forest? Do you think his attitude is something we should worry about? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so there is plenty of other Forest transfer news going on. Here we go with a certain goalkeeper, spoiler alert. There are links to more defenders and there is more bidding wars and hijacking going on with West Ham. And we are going to have to do that all in a separate video. This video is just to bring you the bombshell mic drop breaking news on Wilfred Gnonto. We'll release the transfer video either later tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll tell you what, we get 500 likes on this video, I'll release it this evening. So if you want those updates, make sure you've hit the like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And if you could do me a massive favor if you haven't already, and a massive thank you to those who have already signed up to our channel on playback. We will be kicking it off on Tuesday, starting with the England game. And just a little cheeky hint for you, I'll be doing a watch along, but it won't be alone. And there could be a few expletives shared on that screen. So scan the QR code or go and click on the link in the description and we will see you on the transfer video once you lot have hit 500 likes. So go do that for me now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you then. Come on, you Reds.